Meet Elise, a 33-year-old corporate professional who's been happily married to Luke for 2 years. Luke, 3 years her senior, works at a sister company to hers. Since the beginning, they've been residing with his parents in a two-family home arrangement. Luke, the younger of 2 brothers, has an elder sibling named Cody, who's 6 years his senior. Before Elise and Luke tied the knot, it seemed like Cody and his parents were the primary occupants of the household. However, Cody's wife, Krist, known for her talkative nature and competitive spirit, often found herself at odds with her equally strong-willed mother-in-law. Eventually, Cody and his father had enough of the family disputes and decided to move out. Despite living alone since he started working, Luke and Elise never seriously considered the idea of residing separately from his parents. So, when Luke's mom suddenly declared that they would be moving in after marriage, it caught both Elise and Luke off guard. Elise had assumed they would continue living in her current apartment until they decided to start a family, as it was convenient for her commute. However, it seemed that living together was inevitable in their family's eyes. Although the idea initially unsettled them, they realized that the commute wouldn't differ much whether they stayed at Luke's apartment or his parents' house. Besides, the ancestral home, crafted by Luke's grandfather, boasted both a main house and a guest house, promising ample privacy. Reluctantly, they agreed to move in. However, Elise soon found herself regretting the decision. Luke's mother, in her mid-60s, began complaining about back pain and dizziness, leaving all household chores from cleaning to laundry and shopping squarely on Elise's shoulders. As a full-time worker, even sharing chores with Luke barely managed to keep our lives and his parents' lives in order. Then, an unexpected financial burden hit us. Firstly, the guest house needed serious renovations. Initially appearing livable from the outside, stepping in revealed a dire need for more than just patch jobs. The bathroom, kitchen, roof, floors, everything showed significant wear and tear. Yet it was our space, and naturally, we committed to paying for the renovations. What caught us off guard was when my mother-in-law demanded the same renovations for the main house upon seeing the newly refurbished guest house. It seemed inconceivable to fix up our space and leave them in a rundown place. However, we couldn't afford to do everything all at once. Why is Elise working then? To support us, her in-laws? My mother-in-law questioned. Exactly, Luke, we blessed you with marriage. You should serve us in return. So, not only did they want the house renovated, but they also desired new high-end furniture and appliances, claiming the newly renovated rooms deserved the best. Additionally, they made us pay for every little thing, from groceries to household items. Thanks to this situation, Luke and I struggled to save even a tiny bit of money every month. Just as we approached the 3rd year, my mother-in-law and the Cody couple suddenly dropped the bomb. We're moving in, you have to move out. Christy explained that Cody got laid off, although he was actually spared but chose to leave to save a collie with kids. Despite having 1-year-old twins himself, he was deemed more responsible due to his prestigious university background. Facing this ultimatum, Luke and I sat down with my in-laws, pleading our case for hours until we finally conceded. Fine, we'll move out this week. It was clear that we had no other choice. We've learned plenty about family from you, mother-in-law and father-in-law. It's time to put that wisdom into practice, right, Luke? I teased, glancing at my husband. Ha, finally getting it, are you? Luke chuckled. Yeah, just like Elise said, we're happy to do it. Great, case closed, he affirmed. With that, Luke and I turned our backs on our chuckling in-laws and headed for the guest house. 2 weeks later, we had movers arranged and relocated with no time to spare. Opting for the full packing service due to time constraints, we timed our move during my in-laws' regular lunch at karaoke with friends to avoid any complaints about the items we were taking. We wrapped up all the formalities in 3 days, utilizing our paid leaves and starting our new life. However, one day, I received a call from the front desk at work, informing me that someone claiming to be family was there to see me. I had a feeling she'd show up soon, but I didn't expect her to barge in on me instead of Luke. Quickly texting Luke about the situation, I braced myself for the inconvenience. Luke's response came swiftly, suggesting that we ask Maya to step out for a meeting to avoid causing trouble at the office. Passing the message to the front desk, we managed to make our in-laws leave as agreed. That night, as Luke and I pulled into the parking lot of our in-laws' compound, they, along with Cody and his spouse, rushed out of the main house and guest house to greet us. Upon closer inspection, I noticed that both my in-laws had a baby strapped to their backs, probably Cody's twins. As I locked the car, Cody's voice boomed angrily. Hey, how dare you show up here in my parents' cars? Luke remained composed, retorting, Your parents' cars? Which ones are those? This seemed to infuriate Cody even more. The cars you both drove up in, obviously, he exclaimed. Well, Cody, both these cars were purchased by us. Our names are even on the registration certificates. Would you like to see? Luke interjected, stepping in. I've been annoyed by how our parents drive these cars as if they own them. We let it slide because we live together, but now there's no need to lend them out, right? I added, feeling a surge of irritation. Don't forget Dad-in-law has that old minivan he used for work, Chrissy chimed in, glaring at us. Who cares about that old car? Spat Cody. But it's perfect for twins, isn't it? You can fit 2 car seats, I retorted, attempting to reason. Our back and forth made our in-laws uncomfortable. After seeing Cody receive a talking to about the cars, they jumped in. What about the furniture and the appliances? Taking them while we're away. That's stealing, not just from the main house, but also from the guest house, Cody argued. Yes, Cody and I can't live without those, Chrissy added. Why would we have to leave them? Look, I get what you're saying. We're using the guest house anyway. But there's no reason to dip into the main house too, Luke reasoned. Why isn't that stuff we all pitched in for? I asked, trying to understand their logic. Such arrogance. Even so, once you gave it, it's ours, father-in-law fired back. Whoa, hold on. We never gave you anything. We just lent it. There's no memory of us ever saying we're giving it to you, and there's no transfer of ownership on paper, Luke countered, shocking both our in-laws. We were living together, so we lent stuff as a courtesy. Now that we're living separately, why would we keep lending you things? We just took back what's ours. Is that a problem? Luke continued, exchanging smiles with me. Well, we have washing machines and fridges too. You don't need 2 of each, do you? They argued. Exactly, so why not lend it to us again? Wherever you've moved, stuffing everything into a small space will just make it even more cramped, Luke concluded. We exchanged grins, acknowledging our cramped living situation. True, we're pretty packed right now, I admitted. Absolutely, it's a tight fit, Luke agreed. Chrissy began, in that case. But we cut her off. Remember, it's a storage room, so it's supposed to be cramped, I chuckled. Exactly. Until the official contract is done, this is how it has to be, Luke concluded. This left Cody and our in-laws utterly confused. Then Luke dropped a bombshell. Oh, by the way, both of us are moving to Boston next month. Luke smoothly explained that we had both originally been offered positions at the corporate headquarters but had turned them down because we were living with my in-laws. However, now that the obstacle of living with them was removed, we had both accepted the transfers and happily received internal notifications for positions at the corporate headquarters. Even better, if all went well, we could be working there till retirement. As luck would have it, Luke's colleague, who was going overseas for an extended period, wanted to sell his high-rise condo. Everything fell into place quickly. You guys are going to live in a high-rise condo in Boston? Man, life sure does throw some curveballs, doesn't it? Cody remarked. Totally. If Cody and the gang hadn't told us to move out so they could live here, we wouldn't have stumbled upon this jackpot, I replied. But how could we even afford a high-rise condo? That seems unreal, Chrissy questioned. That's thanks to Elise's dad. He provided the down payment, Luke revealed. Elise's dad just gave you the down payment? Cody asked, surprised. Yes, my sister is inheriting the family property, so this is sort of a trade-off. Plus, a previous owner asked if we could hold on to his modern altar until, upon my return to the country, I proposed lowering the asking price, and he agreed, securing a significant discount. However, hearing about the extent of the discount, Christy, who was standing nearby, burst into tears, exclaiming, "That's so unfair. I'd rather have a high-rise condo in Boston than live in Atlanta." Suddenly, the in-laws, who had been quiet all this time, switched gears and started fawning. Well, it looks like Luke really has it together, doesn't he? Like mother, like son. Luke is following in my footsteps, they chimed in. Ignoring their comments, Luke turned to me and said, living in a high-rise in Boston, everyone's going to be so jealous. When are you moving? We must visit. If we're going to Boston, you should come too, I suggested. The idea seemed to intrigue them. However, the mood shifted when Cody and Christy stopped their arguing and snapped at the in-laws. "What are you talking about? Cody's being downsized, so you're going to have to support us. Plus, until I find another job, Christy will have to go back to work early from her parental leave. You'll have to take care of her household chores and the twins," they confronted. As tension mounted, Cody and Christy marched up to the in-laws who were carrying the twins. The babies, sensing the tension, started crying, waking up the entire neighborhood. Noticing the neighbors gathering at a distance from the garage, the in-laws turned beet red. Luke finally intervened, addressing Cody and the others. "Stop just standing there. Exactly, these guys are trying to take advantage of us, your parents." Luke's laughter echoed as he continued, "So, this is like a battle of wits between a raccoon and a fox, huh?" Turning to the bewildered faces around him, he grinned and explained, "If both couples, us and you, don't work, our family finances will collapse next month." Fuming, Christy asked what this meant. I chimed in, "Christy, you thought if Cody lost his job and you moved into the in-laws' rental home, you could just push the utility bills and groceries onto them, right? Well, our income was running this house and you can't count on it anymore." "I've never heard about this, exactly what we're telling you now," I admitted, puzzled. "Oh, and you'll also need to help with the mortgage payments for the house renovation. It's in father-in-law's name," Luke added. "Why is it in his name?" I questioned, catching the in-laws off guard. Luke took over, explaining, "I wanted the loan in my name since I was paying for it, but Dad insisted it would be shameful. So we used this property as collateral. Until now, we've been transferring money into Dad's account to cover the loan. Cody, you'll need to chip in starting next month." Of course, the in-laws and Cody were against it, but Luke firmly declined to continue payments. "We're going to give up the inheritance. So Cody, as the one who will inherit, you better take good care of your parents and the family home," I firmly told him. "But children are still obligated to take care of their parents, right?" my mother-in-law insisted. Luke brushed it off, saying, "Well, considering we've been covering your living expenses and loan payments for the past 2 years, I'd say that pretty much balances out any future caregiving costs I'd have as a son, don't you think?" "Let's go home, love," Luke said, looking at me. "Goodbye, everyone. I doubt we'll meet again." "Take care," I said, bidding farewell. The next day, Luke and I sold off the furniture and appliances we had moved from the main house, along with 2 cars we wouldn't need anymore. When Chrissy texted us asking for them, I simply replied, "Why?" and blocked her. After that, the special leave granted for our job transfer wasn't enough, so we had to use up our remaining paid vacations to finally finish moving into the apartment. Buying the high-rise condo would take more time, so for the first year, we decided to rent, thanks to the generosity of my boss who owns the place. As the weekend arrived, bringing a bit of calm after the storm of recent days, we gazed at the city lights, and Luke broke the silence. "I know I've been a hassle this time, but thanks for sticking with me," I said, feeling grateful for Luke's patience. "What's with the formal tone all of a sudden?" Luke joked, but then his expression turned serious. "When we first got married and the idea of living together came up, I should have thought things through. But back then, I was just happy you chose me over Cody, who I've been compared to since we were kids." He continued, reflecting on how we had mindlessly followed his parents' wishes until they told us to move out to make room for Cody and his family due to the company restructuring. It struck me, how could they say that after being such a burden on us financially and otherwise? Luke wondered aloud. "And then I thought about how much your parents must worry about you given your situation." He explained that he sent an apology email to my parents, and their response was heartening. "If we promise to make our daughter happy in the future, the past can be forgiven." Encouraged by this, when they discussed the down payment, they lent it to us without a hitch. Luke made a promise to do everything in his power to protect our life together, just the 2 of us and our future children, if we were blessed to have them. However, on the other hand, it seemed my in-laws were struggling. Despite pulling from their retirement income, they could barely afford the loan for the home renovation. With Cody's attempts to find new employment proving futile, they were forced to make do with Christy's salary now that she had returned to work. Arguments were frequent, often loud enough to hear outside the house. A former colleague even reached out to me, mentioning gossip about them skipping town, as they had cut off all contact with Luke and me. They even resorted to reaching out to my parents, but my dad immediately changed his phone number, seeing it as a small but significant step, given how they had belittled my family and neglected pre-marriage courtesies. Now, they had almost no way to get in touch with us. What goes around comes around, I mused.